Hello there, my name is Chris Palmer, and in today's local SEO tips video, I'd like to share with you some local SEO tips that can certainly help you rank number one in 2021. Now, more so when I'm talking about local SEO tips, I really want to dig down and really talk about one specific element that's certainly going to help you moving into the new year. Now, this has often been talked about over and over again, and what it is citations, but I want to give you a new outlook when we're talking about citations. You see, citations are a digital reference, a fingerprint of sorts. And these are going to be digital references across the web that are going to be name, address, and phone number. Now, these digital references are one of a leading signals for local markets, which you may know. Now, there was actually an article written, and you can feel free to go read about it. This is one where they really dug into it and they talked about it. It's an older article, but it's still relevant for today. And what it talks about is an algorithm that Google uses for local search rankings, and citations being almost like a link, but it's looked at in a ranking signal factor. All right. So what I want to share with you today is a way that will take you outside the box. It'll make you look at citations a different way, because oftentimes when people are building out citations, they'll have their main website, okay, or their home page. Now, a lot of times people or businesses are going to build their leading citations, and let's just say that these are our citations. Let's build a nicer one here. Let's say that these are our citations. These are all of them. Let's just say one of them is going to be Yelp, all right, building it to the home page. You build out another one, Foursquare, right? And then you build that to the homepage. And that's fine. And this has been covered millions of times. Now, a new idea that I gave to people, that I gave as, something that I like to do, and that's not what I want to cover today, is when people will have other pages, generally service pages or location pages, why wouldn't you build more citations going to those pages as well? Right? And people say, maybe it's going to be duplicate, but that's exactly what I want to get to today. If we know from reading that citations are being looked at almost in a way that links are, but for local market, citations are going to be one of the ranking signals for me to rank higher. And if we're looking at it like backlinks, if I build more links that are high quality, I rank higher as long as my content and everything else is in place. The same goes for citations. What people run into in the issue, and that's what I want to talk about today, is citations, if you take a look, are duplicated across the web and they're usually filtered out, right? So let's just take for instance, we're going to use my site for the experiment. So let's do site : and we're going to do chrispalmermarketing.com. All right. So what we're going to bring up here is we're going to bring up index pages that are referencing this, right? So what's in there, and usually what's going to come up is going to be my pages, but along with that, other citations or press releases and things that I've done. Now, what you'll come to find out, and actually what I want to do is this. So 570, they're usually written like this. So 570, my mistake. Bear with me here. Stick with me. I'm making a point. I'm giving you the information so I can lead you to the information, okay? I like to explain things, just how I do it, right? So what we're going to do is we want to put this inside of here, right? Because we're looking for citations. Now, what you'll come to find is this. As you're making these, and this is usually the objection that I get, but there's a way around this, and a lot of gentlemen already know this, but I want to give it to you. And this might not be news to you, but I want to give it to you anyway because hopefully it can help you, all right? So what you'll come to find is this. The digital references, aka citations, or a digital fingerprint for your business, is duplicated across the web. And what you'll find is it's duplicated and duplicated and duplicated. And what usually happens is they'll filter out until you hit 75. So if citations are going to be a way for me to rank higher, then how can I get more citations? But more so, how can I get more citations indexed? So that's one of the tips for today, or the main tip for today. So as you saw here, if you take a look here, and they talk about the patents that reference it, and that's why I'm pointing this article out. It's a good read. Go ahead and have a read. It's at eos.com, Ranking Your Local Business Part 5, Citations. Within it, they'll talk about Bill Slosky. I've had him on the show before. He references a lot of the patents that have to do with ranking, but it makes it make more sense. They wrote it a lot better than I could, right? So why should I write something out? Here it is. You go ahead and have a read. It leads me to the point of, okay, citations are better. You want more of them. And building them to other service or location pages, here's how we can get more of them indexed and how we can make it work. All right. So if I have my initial website, this is my home page. All right. We're going to do our initial campaign. Usually it's anywhere between 80 to 300 citations, right? And these are going to go into the home page. Now, your first set of citations are going to be the most prominent citations. If you take a look over here for SEMrush, so let's take a look. So SEMrush citations list. So if we take a look at the citation list, we'll take a look in here. They'll give you a list of all the citations. I believe there's 150 of them. These are your top citation sources, right? Now, within SEMrush or whatever tool you're using, if you come over here to competitors, I'm not going to do that now, but if you come into competitors, it'll tell you not only the backlinks, but also the citations that they have that you don't. Now, what you'll find in niches is there's other directories and other places to get citations that you probably don't have, but you've already created your 75, right? They're already filtering some of them out. So, Chris, how do I get more citations that can be indexed? And that's where I'm leading you to. So let's go ahead and come over here. So if I build these out and then I have my other location pages, I want to build another 80, right? But these are going to be niche specific. But we know that Google's going to start filtering them out because when we do a search, they only show so many. There's only so many or they're going to be duplicated, right? So how can we get more? Now, here's what I propose to you. Generally, what you'll find is when you're doing your citations, you're going to put in your business description, right? So Chris Palmer Marketing, we're just going to use me as an example. What you'll do is you have your name, address, phone number, all the details are here. And then generally what's duplicated is this right here across the web. So what I propose to you in order to get more citations, to get higher rankings, to get them on more sites, also to build them to more internal pages that are more niche specific, what I suggest is this, all right? And here's the tip for you. So when you're creating your citations and you have your 200 words, okay, might I suggest that you write not only 200, but write another 200, all right? And then if you really want to be bold or you really want to be professional with it, write another 200 set, okay? And the reason being is because with 200 words, you can only get so many manual spins. A manual spin is a way that you can create the same content, but then it's not duplicated. And what I mean by this is you can put it inside of a tool or you could utilize somebody else in order to literally, spin the content. So this way you're not just duplicating the original 200 over and over and over again, but this way you have 3 of them, and then out of each of these you can create 40 spins, 40 spins, 40 spins. Then when you're going on your tool, let's say SEMrush for this instance, and you're doing your competitor analysis looking at backlinks, but one of the things for local is you're looking at citations. Now, when we're looking at those citations, we want to go to our top 10 competitors. Everybody on the first page that's in our market competing for our keywords. We pull in all of their links and their citations, and if you're tracking it with SEMrush, they make it super easy. Then you're pulling out a list. Okay, I have this one, they don't. You have this one, they don't, right? You're making a list of all the ones that you do not have. Then if you have a citation builder or if you want to use a service, completely up to you. What I like to do is compile a list, all right? Then you just head over. I'm just going to use these guys. I'm not saying that, maybe you should use these, but you've created a list of citation sources that your customers have or that your competition has. You already have the list, okay? You made your own custom list. You also have 3 custom 200-word descriptions right? Because the name, address, phone number is going to be duplicated, but included with citations is a description. It talks about the business. This is how you can get past the duplicate content filter. This is a way that you can get more citations sent to your business and your internal pages that actually get indexed. So what you do is you come over to SEMrush or whatever tool. You make your competitor analysis list of not only backlinks, but citations. You get a custom list of citations that your competitors have that you don't. Then you come over to a place where you can get cheap work or lesser cost work, affordable work. Fiverr works, everybody knows what it is. That's why I'm showing it. Use whatever you want. You have a VA, great. You need two different services. One is you need to find somebody that can build citations. Now, I don't want their list, right? These are ones that everybody uses. I don't want theirs. What I want is somebody that will agree to build the list that I want manually, okay? So they're building a custom list manually. You also have, don't forget this, your 3 custom spins. The next thing is you type in, you're looking for a VA. You're just looking for somebody, an article writer, somebody that has the skill set that will spin these manually to get you at least 200 custom descriptions. So this way, for your custom citation list that you're going to have somebody go build manually, you can have them build and every single one is unique. This way, when you go and you do your search, you're not only able to get higher rankings because we know that local citations are actually a ranking signal, but you're actually able to also get more of them indexed. So this will certainly help you out moving into 2021, and that is mostly the biggest tip that I want to give to you today. All right, so my name is Christopher Palmer. If you have any other questions related to local SEO, off-page SEO, black hat SEO, gray hat SEO, white hat SEO, really anything at all, always feel free to go ahead and reach out in the comments below. I answer every question, not a problem. Also, got a new number, right? Because I have, you know what? I had my, I have 3 phones now. I had my regular business line, my normal clients on one line. They're calling me and dinging me, but then I have social properties where I'm trying to, talk to new people. I'm trying to expand, right? Plus I work with my partner, his name's Eric. He's bringing me people, so they're calling. So I'm missing people and there's things going on. So what I did was this. I have a phone line and a whole email system set up. Hey, anything that you get, Eric, and anybody you want me to talk to, they go to this email and you can call me on this phone. Anybody from social, you guys can come to this email or this phone, right? So I'm trying to push those out. Does anybody have any questions related to anything? I'd be happy to answer them. First I should ask, I get excited, right? I'm trying to give the tips, but does that make sense to you? Was there anything there? Maybe my format, I didn't lay it out good enough, but was there anything there that I missed? SEO is a myth. That's not true. I don't know what that means anyway. Drew, great to have you on. Uma, always wonderful to see you. Drew, great to see you. It's Montez.com. Hello from Kentucky. Hello from Pennsylvania. Greenfoot Nike. Good morning, Chris. Good afternoon to you. I'm not sure where you are, but it's noon here. Good morning. Good afternoon to you. Exoic, SEO is a myth. You're definitely on the wrong channel, brother. Because I'm not sure about that. Hamlin reacts. Chris, love your content. I'm glad that I'm able to help you. Thank you for watching. Drew says, so you're saying to spin your citations and do multiple rounds? Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. Definitely. But I there's some key elements here. I hope that it didn't come off that way. What I'm saying is, and if that didn't come out clear enough, maybe I should redo it, because I wanted to give some foreground. First, I wanted to back up the fact that local citations are a ranking signal, and this is backed up by patents, and this is backed up by common knowledge, but I wanted to back it up with a patent and an entire write-up. So that was that part. The next part is I wanted to go ahead and show that, hey, they filter these out, and why they filter them out isn't necessarily this small amount, because we know we can bypass duplicate content with 60%. So if we're changing the bulk, which is the description, if we can change that, we're able to get more indexed. So that's why I showed this. Then the next step of it was, hey, you can go into, say, SEMrush. You can go into whatever tool you want. I like SEMrush. Go in here. You're probably using competitors. You're probably tracking them. You could put them in here and see the backlinks and the citations. Then you can see of your top 10 competitors. You could pull out, hey, they have this citation, this citation, this citation, this citation, and we know they're working because they're beating us, right? We're pulling our competition. So then we can make a custom list. Once we have a custom list, we got to go find cheap work because we don't want to do it ourselves, right? So then we make our custom list and we say, hey, I'm willing to pay you whatever cost you want, but here's what I want you to go create. But before that, I would make the descriptions. I'd make 2 or 3 different variations and then I'd go and spin them. That way you're getting more unique spins, right? There's some pretty good tools out there. You can even do manual spins. I don't know if I'd want to write 300 or 200 variations, but hey, if that's your cup of tea, then why not? Let's come back over here. I hope I was clear on that. I hope I was very, very clear. And two, I got a lot of guff for this, but yes, Drew, in my humble opinion, I've been disagreed with a few times. Go take a look at one of the places online, right? I think it's called Easy Local, right? So if you come over here, and what I like to look at is who's the spammiest guys, right? What's the hardest niche? One of the hardest niches is locksmith. Am I right? So what I like to do is I like to go and look and see, what are these guys doing, right? Like, what are these guys doing that I'm not? How can I improve? So what I like to do is I like to come in here, like the Easy Local is one of them because it's one of the easiest citations to go in and build. I've seen guys prop up their whole SEO, their whole SEO deal. I know one very in particular that has hundreds of Easy Locals, right? And I was like, hey, this is pretty slick, right? But anyway, if you come in here and you see the guys, you're not looking for one guy that just has one, but you're looking for somebody like, here's BK Lock and Safe. Now, if I scroll down this list, you're looking for one that repeats over and over. Mobile. Here's mobile, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, this guy's doing it. Now, what you'll find is some of these guys in the harder niches, I didn't just magically come up with this, and I'm not saying these guys are doing this, but I have seen this in very competitive niches where, they have their main entity. And yeah, they built their first run because Google doesn't rank sites, they rank pages. So if I have my main home page that is targeting a primary keyword or a primary industry, right? And this is my homepage, this is my main entity. I'm promoting whatever it is, right? Locksmith, this, that, and I build my first wave of citations here, which is a huge ranking signal for local. Why, when I build another page, and remember, Google looks at pages, not the whole site, why would I not want to give that page the love that it deserves? It only makes sense, and I've seen it time and time again with other companies that are competing for heavy terms, where they're building, okay, here's my Yelp listings and whatever else, 300 citations. They do the same thing right to here. This is a location page, and then they have their service. They have a location page, service, and then right to the top of the level. Right to top level. Bang. Right? And then they're building content here, or they're building links. Bang, 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 bang. Right? Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Costs money, but, what's the cost of winning, First things that I would do is this, depending on budget, if these are locations, now I'm assuming that you've done your homework, right? So you're looking at a particular area, and this is your home location, and you know that the population count for this area is, let's say, 80K, right? And then okay, this particular place is getting a search volume, like the keywords that I'm trying to target. Let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this one's getting 100, this one's getting 250, right? And so on and so forth. So with this main entity, you're also going to have your GMB, and this GMB is, generating X amount of phone calls. So that's one property. all right? And this is your primary location, right? Which makes sense. Now, what I would do is if you have another area where you've done the homework, right? Remember this 80K number and you know what's working here. If you want to go to more areas, and as long as it's as profitable as this one, right? And this is just hypothetical numbers. What I would do is I would just build the same process. When you go and you look back to this example over here, right? If we go to Easy Local, right? And you take a look at these guys, this is just an example. If you take a look at the guys who are winning, right? Let's just take, for instance, remember that list where it said mobile, 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 mobile? You remember what I'm saying? What they did is they have one website. It's the same company. One website, one GMB. You get what I'm saying? So regardless of your industry, regardless of what you're doing, I feel that the best course of action, if it's working in the highest competition, and as long as you have the budget and as long as it's profitable enough, I would repeat the same process. All right. I would build out my entity. I'd create another property. I'd create another GMB, right? These are obviously linked together, and then I'd be looking for the leads. Where's the leads? Where's the leads? Where's the leads, right? Now, another thing that you can do is this. Let's say you have low budget, all right? Let's say that hey, Chris, that's a little bit too much for the kid, right? Maybe I don't want to do that. That's understandable. I've been in that predicament before. So what I would do is, let's say you have your main property. This is your website, right? This is your website, and then you have your GMB. Understandable. GMB. Oh, I like that it's an octagon. So you have your GMB. Now, on your map, we know, okay, so here's my main business, okay? And then we know within this 10-mile radius is where we can get. Now, my website talks about this main location. Now, also on the website, right? Because we know that Google's reading what's on the website because it'll show us results on Google Maps that say, hey, we're showing you this result because this was mentioned on the website, right? You've seen this in GMB before, right? When you're the 3-pack, it'll say, hey, I know that the title and I know that this business doesn't do this, but they mention this on their website and it's one of the most relevant results that we have, right? So you have to keep that in mind. So on the website, all you need is a page, a location page, right? To where you talk about those services regarding the locations that you serve. In this location, we have this service, this service, this service, this service, this service. Now, when we're talking about the maps, GMB, right? If we don't want to go verify another one or we don't want to go through the process, what we can do to expand proximity, right? And there's other steps, but then we can then go in, we can go buy a $30 citation package to verify or validate our entity. We go out, we create a unverified. We now can cover another 10, right? 10 miles. We're talking about it on our website. And then we can just create a citation package. The citations will validate the GMB and Google will keep it there. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you. I just gave you a massive tip that can certainly help you. All right? Because when Chris, yes, I got disbarred from the competition because I had an age domain, which I didn't even think of. But one of the first things that I did was I went and I established a pin drop. I created a pin drop, and then step number 2, how do I get it to stay in place when people are trying to out me? You go build citations to it. All right? So that's how I would do it, and that's how you expand proximity, and I think that might be your best course of action. Okay? Let's move on to the next question. Chase, whoa, look at the quality. Thank you, sir. Glad I can help. I am back. Abdul, good to see you, brother. Fidel says page actions are disabled on Google Search Console. Is there an alternative? I mean, I would just wait. I'm not sure what you're trying to do. I can't go to that one. Let's see if I could get into this one. Yeah, we could go to this one. So let's go and see what are we talking about here. Page actions are disabled. So what are we talking about? URL inspection? What are we talking about here? I'm not sure what you're trying to get at here. What page actions? What page action? Coverage, sitemaps. What are you talking about? The index thing? Is that what you're getting at? The indexing? Because, and I've talked to Craig, I've talked to other people about this too, but, create the content and move on. create the links and move on. Create the pages and move on. Like, I know that it's satisfying to push the button and it almost feels like you've completed your job, right? You submit the sitemap, which I would probably do first. You've submitted your sitemap, and then you go and you request indexation, right? I know it's satisfying. It feels good. I understand that. But, I don't think everything has to be immediate, I just don't. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. Just keep moving forward, brother. Like, don't get caught up on that if that's what you're meaning. Thanks, Ruan. Hey, Ruan, and I wasn't avoiding you, brother. I got a new line just for. Man, I'd love to talk to you, Ruan. Man, I was hoping to do it live, to be honest with you. But if maybe you got some tips you want to give me, I would I'd be totally cool with that if you don't want to talk about it live, because I really like to get Ruan on to talk about some agency stuff, because I'm switching into a newer model, and I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that's doing it quite like him, right? Nobody that I like, I know a lot of guys that are doing it, but not that have withheld, what's the word I'm looking for? A particular level of respectfulness and just somebody that I can tell that's going to be cool to work with. But anyway, man, I'd love for you to give me a call. So December 3rd, Google update. I don't want to miss anybody. Do you do aggregators or just actual citation page? Well, that very first one that you're going to do to really validate, I would go to you can do the two main ones. Yeah, I would submit. It's easy to do. I don't see why you wouldn't. Like that first wave, I'd run those right through, As far as the others, I don't feel that it's that necessary. Moving on here, definitely too much. Not sure what Chris. Would the company info trigger a duplication factor since the 200 word count is different, but the contact information, including address, is still the same? No, because remember, when we're talking about duplication and we're talking about the filtering aspect, we only need a 60% difference. So if we have 200 words and then we have 10 words or 20 words that are our name, address, phone number, right? Because, and please keep this in mind too. Let me touch on that point. When you create a different citation with that description, that's enough to bypass. You're going to get higher indexation rates is really like the key tip here, right? Like you need to build more citations, build them to the home and the internal pages, whatever services or locations that you have. And you need to be spinning your description so you can get higher indexation and you get higher counts, right? Whew, mouthful. That was like the main tip. I just wanted to explain it as much as I could. The next thing, somebody asked me something, aggregators disabled, 200 words, but the contact info is different. Oh, and this is what I wanted to touch on. And remember, when we're looking at citations, right? You guys like this color? This purple? I thought it was cool. When we're looking at citations, right? At the end of the day, what's a citation? A digital footprint, it's an NAP, right? Name, address, phone number, right? Now, you have structured and you have unstructured, for those of you that may not know this, right? So a structured citation is going to come from sites like Yelp, right? Sites like Foursquare, okay? But anytime that you can get this right here onto a page, right? This is considered a citation. All right, so, and that's considered an unstructured citation. So hopefully that helps you out to give you guys something. Yeah, I have a schema plugin. If you go to the Facebook group, I gave it away. I gave everybody SEO Press, which is a white label solution, SEO Press. So if you take a look here, SEO Press is the one that I really like. It's just one of them. I'm not promoting them by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, hey, if they want to, there's only 2 companies that I try to promote, which I really like, that I use every day. But yeah, these guys got it going on. I like their tool. So yeah, if you take a look here, they really lay it out for you. So they have titles, metas, HTML, sitemaps, social, they do advanced. Then they have the local business, as you can see, Dublin core, breadcrumbs, they do it all. It works super efficiently. $40 a year for unlimited sites, I guess. I don't know, but if you want to try it out, go check out the Facebook group. I gave it away. Many blessings. Goodbye. SEO police are coming for me. Make sure you have a good lunch. Yeah, I'm going to try. Thank you. Thank you all. Goodbye.